Today we're going to do a part 2 video, sort of, on how to make shrimp bait. So the basic ingredients for shrimp bait is going to be, the base is going to be these pellets. The brand is FSI. I get it down at my local sporting goods store. Super bait, prawn bait. Comes in a pellet form like this. Basically, we're going to start by making enough for four bait balls, or 4 bait canisters here. We start out by taking about a gallon of pellets, the first pellets, divide it in half, and I put half of it into a bucket, and I did this, I prepped this stuff here last night. So about half a gallon there. And to this bucket here, I mixed 2 cups of Procure, it's crab and shrimp attractant oil. You can get from this same company here, you can get a gallon of fish oil that also works instead of, I like having the fluorescent dye in mine. So half a gallon of pellets, and then 2 cups of the Procure. Dump it in here and you mix it around and basically let it soak overnight, and that'll get that set. The other half of the pellets here we're going to grind up. We'll run them through the grinder here and turn them into like a little meal. And then to that we're going to add 4 cans of cat food, regular common cat food. This is whitefish with sardines, and I got 2 cans of that, and then 2 cans of whitefish with tuna, and then 4 cans of mackerel. The idea I touched upon in the last video, that unlike the crab traps, the shrimp are able to swim in and out of the shrimp trap. So you want to have a bait in there that has a strong odor and doesn't break down in the water column really quick. Part of that is done by having the pellets in the pellet form, but then having your scent attractors. And the only other thing that I've left out is I do have some old sand dabs or flounder that's over here that I'm also going to grind up and add in. You can, if you have a shrimp trap that can carry 2 of these, it's really common to have 1 frozen and 1 not frozen and put them both in there. My shrimp traps only have 1, and I tend to run them frozen. So that's what we're going to prepare them for, is for freezing. You just take them out a couple hours before and give them a little bit longer soak time when you put them down there. They'll thaw out and kind of time release, more or less. So to get started, I've already mixed this stuff up here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grind up these half gallon of pallets and make the meal, and then we'll start mixing this together in this bucket. So you're going to want some gloves because it gets kind of stinky, and definitely don't want that all over your hands. Okay, I have ground up that half gallon of pellets. And so now what we are going to do is add it into our bucket. Let's go ahead and scoop that all in there. All right. Okay. So then from here, we're going to add another cup of the Procure oil in. So we'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, should probably shake it up a little bit. This stuff needs to be shook pretty well. So let's give it a good shake here again. Ooh. Another cup. Into the bucket that goes. Okay, from here we're just going to start adding our cat food and just pop that up, add it right on in there directly. Four cans. That all in there. And then our 4 cans of mackerel. Mackerel is a kind of an oily fish, and so it has a scent trail and kind of hangs around in the water column a bit. So it's kind of a good thing. And so we're just going to add it in, water and all, everything that's in here. We're just going to add it all in. It's packed in little stuff like that. We'll end up breaking that up when we mix it. Sometimes it's labeled mackerel chubs, and that's just basically what that means. It's little sections that it's canned up with. All of that right on in there. All right. Let's see what, okay. So the only other thing we're going to add in here is these sand dabs. These might still be pretty frozen, yeah. But I catch these for crab. I use these for crab bait, and we're gonna throw some of them in here. So I will be back in a moment when I'm going to go ahead and grind them up and add them in. You guys don't want to sit here and watch me grinding fish. So I will be back when we get that done. Okay, so now we've got a pile of ground up fish. Like make fish burgers here. No, I'm just kidding. This stuff's pretty gross. It's starting to draw every fly in the county. So now we're just going to take all this and we're just going to throw it right into our bucket. Get this thing out of here. Get this out of here, so hose that off. Okay, now comes the fun part. Now we're going to mix this stuff. So there's what we got. Some guys use a paint mixer. You can do this with a paint mixer also, or just get in here and start mixing it together. Break up that mackerel. Try to get it mixed thoroughly and evenly. So you're going to have to spend a little bit of time on it. So what you're shooting for is a consistency about like thin peanut butter, or maybe more like a sour cream or something like that. It's going to be a paste, what you want. Okay, I think we're just about there. Don't see any more pockets of ground pellets, so I think we got it pretty well dispersed through this mixture. Okay, I'm going to call that good. And so now, go ahead and take your bait container, open it up. Now we're just going to start plopping this stuff in. Start filling them bait containers up. Okay. There's one. Okay. So The sand dabs, I usually catch those when we're, like I said, when I'm crabbing. They tend to be in the sandy areas, not that deep. So when we're crabbing, we're only 150 foot down on crab traps anyway. So it makes it really easy just while we're waiting for the traps to soak. We just go over and drop a line and catch sand dabs. And for crabbing, I usually hang one in the trap. I'm kind of a big proponent of familiar smells. There's a lot of people advocate using chicken thighs and stuff like that for bait, and it works. But I think that putting salmon and stuff that they're familiar with, the scents that they are familiar with, it draws them in a little quicker. I feel it does. They're gonna eat whatever decaying garbage is on the bottom, no matter what. So I like using local stuff, salmon carcasses and stuff like that. That whatever I catch, I end up using all pretty much. Everything gets reused. It either gets reused here as fertilizer for our garden. Fish oils and stuff like that are really good for gardening. So a lot of that stuff goes into our garden, or it gets turned into crab bait. Okay, well there's 4 of them, and I got a little bit of extra left here, so it's kind of a bonus. Probably get another 2 containers out of it. Well, maybe. So from here, these are going to go in my deep freeze. It's still, shrimp season is still 3 weeks off. So I wanted to get this video out there to get, have people have time to get set up and ready to go for it. So, so these are going to go in my freezer. And like I said, I will run them frozen. They'll be, they're going to be out of the freezer when I go on the day that I go to use them. They're going to be out of the freezer for a couple hours, so they'll be slightly thawed on the outside, but still pretty chunky. Still pretty frozen through the center. So you just kind of allow for that, and just let it soak for a little while longer. I usually soak everything for about an hour anyway. Some guys go 30 minutes. I'm not that enthusiastic about pulling 400 feet of line in, so every 30 minutes, so I leave it out there. Give them a chance to fill up the pot and then pull it in. Okay, well, that's a good 3/4 full there. All right. So that's all there is to it. It's smelly, which means it should work. So they like smelly stuff. Yeah. So, all right. That's all for this video here. I got to get this place cleaned up now. So, have a great day.